Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about fifth Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. Excuse me. And we're going to talk about bear humans and foliand humans, specifically through the lens of bear non-player characters and foliand non-player characters. All right, so I'm sure you're saying, what's a foliand? All right, we'll get there. Just be patient. Thanks for your patience. All right. So I'm in the middle of coming out of a Christmas break. Just a beautiful, beautiful time. I got like 10 or 11 days off all in a row. Really needed. It was a tough year, and there was just a lot going on in the year, and so it was great to have. I'm very incredibly blessed to have paid leave, and got to rest and relax, and just really it was a wonderful time. So I am incredibly blessed. I live right near Longwood Gardens. So for Christmas this year, I got my wife a 1-year subscription to Longwood Gardens, which she had requested. And so basically Longwood Gardens is, not an exaggeration, one of the most heralded, most beautiful, most extensive gardens in the world. Okay. And you can go, and we have these memberships, and we can go anytime we want. It's only 15 miles from our house. It's incredibly close, and we're incredibly blessed to be able to just walk through these gardens anytime we want. So I go to these gardens, and this is right after a few days after Christmas, right? I realize, I'm trying to be content, right? Just realize how much I have. And one of the things I'm really blessed with, I came out of Christmas with $380 in my pocket. I'm like, holy crap, that's a lot of money. There's more money I didn't even know what to do with it. And it's really interesting. I've reached a point in my life where money is very interesting. There are vehicles I would like to own, and there are trips I would like to take. But the reality is, a whole bunch of people gnawed at me about this, and they're like, oh, you could save up for these things. And I'm like, and I disagree in that I think when you take, months or years and save money to put toward a trip, it puts so much pressure on the trip that you would get freaked out. I would probably get freaked out if things go wrong during the trip, especially if you save for, months or years, and then, something's wrong with it. It's too much pressure, right? So the reality is, the vehicle I would like to own, the trips I would like to take, they're really outside of my grasp. I can't get them. I just don't. I have too many other financial obligations. But below that, the clothes I want to wear, the books I want to own, the games I want to own, I've reached that point where I can get them. Just get them, right? And it's really incredible. So I'm at Longwood Gardens, and I come across this book. It's gigantic. It was literally like 1.5 feet long by 1 foot wide, had about 300-400 pages in it, and it's called The Architecture of Trees. And I was like, what? And I looked at this thing. What it does is it has ink drawings of 212 tree species in it at scale. So they're drawn in the book. 212 tree species drawn in the book, okay? And they're drawn bare, no leaves. And they're drawn foliaged. They have foliage on them. They're foliand, right? So they have leaves on them, right? Bare trees, foliand trees, right? Without leaves, with leaves, okay? And I sat down, and it took me like a day and a half to go through this book and just look at this, 212 stunningly beautiful trees from all over the world. There's literally a ruler in the book, and the ruler shows you meters and feet, and all of these are drawn to perspective, right? And so, within the book, right? So it has its own scale within the book. Stunningly gorgeous, and really made me just think a lot, right? What a beautiful world we live in, how much clearly design was involved in creating this world. And but I was thinking at it, and as I'm looking at these trees, I was thinking about so we as dungeon masters, we have a responsibility, okay? we step into our games, okay? And of course, if you're just out there making a fun game for you and your table, and you want to make a fun game for 4 people, and you don't want to change the world, and you think that Dungeons and Dragons is a shoots and ladders game, this ain't for you. I'm not talking to you, right? I'm talking to people who believe that Dungeons and Dragons is something beyond a game, and it has the power to improve people and improve the world by extension, who have an understanding of what unbound identity is, unbound immersion, okay? If you want to make a good game for your 4 people at your table, shove off. This ain't for you. I'm not talking to you, right? You can do it. You can achieve your shoots and ladders, tiny goals, which are not even goals. You can just, gobble down your experience and be done with it, right? I'm not talking to you. This is for people who are building a better future with Dungeons and Dragons. That's what I'm attempting to do. That's what I want to teach people to do. That's what I'm calling people to do, right? And if you realize that the moment you sit in that Dungeon Master table, you are crafting a personalized story for 4 people in front of you, and what you present can change their life, can change their view of the world, and as they change, they can change the world, then you have a responsibility to think very carefully what you portray with every non-player character, right? And I've been thinking about this. When I think about these non-player characters, right, I realized, the tavern owner, okay, the tavern owner, at the Silver Stag, right? He comes in 2 versions. He comes in the bear version and in the foliand version. He comes without leaves and he comes with leaves, okay? Trees in the winter lose their leaves. Not all, but some. So some trees lose their leaves in the winter, okay? And then they grow them back in the spring, okay? And when we show non-player characters, we can present them bear or foliand. So a foliand tavern owner of the Silver Stag is boisterous, greets the players when they come in, right? He might recommend the special of the day, which the chef has been working on for a month, right? They just got new buttered, herbed butter in, and he'll smile and he smiles and asks them about the dungeon, right? That's a foliand tavern owner, a foliand tavern owner. What about the bear tavern owner, right? This is the guy who lost his wife a month ago to cancer, right? She died. And when he comes in, there's no greeting, right? He's still there, he's still doing his job, but he's bare. There's no joy in him, right? And he's angry and he could be dangerous, right? His love for life, his connection to joy is gone. He's bare, right? And one of the things is, having looked through this book, seen hundreds of species, bear and foliand, I can see how starkly different they are, right? Now, you're like, wait a second, why would you even put the bear, the bear non-player character into a story? Well, one of the things is, when someone is bear, you see their branches, right? You see the structure that is below. It's not this colorful, big poofy presentation, right? It's not just a bunch of leaves and presentation. It's the bare branches. It's the underlying structure, which can show the strength of the tree and the strength of the non-player character, right? And it's fascinating. It's fascinating to me, just to think, when we look at non-player characters, are we presenting them foliand? Are we presenting them bare? The other thing is, what are the events that cause a winter in the life of a human, right? Now, when I say human, I actually mean any intelligent species. What are the events that cause a winter in the life of a tiefling, in the life of a turtle, in the life of a dwarf, in the life of an elf, right? In the life of a drow? What are the things that cause a winter there, right? And there is a possibility of the foliage emerging. What causes a spring in the life of a non-player character, right? Maybe the return of a child, who's traveled away, maybe maybe meeting someone that that they didn't expect to meet, maybe experiencing a piece of art, right? Maybe a goal being accomplished, right? And it really, so just, looking through this book, seeing the architecture of trees, it just reminded me there is the bear NPC and there is the folion NPC. They are the same person, just at different times. And as you go forward and you are trying to craft an amazing tale, if you're just if you're just out there making a table for your 4 people and you want a good story, don't bother doing this. This is not for you, right? Go, stick to pre-gens and move on, right? But if you really want to craft something where you are needing to search your own heart, mind, and soul, to see what's in you, to look around, right, and see what really makes a human being tick, which is the same thing that makes a turtle tick and a dwarf tick and a drow tick, and it's the same. Any player character is someone who has a heart, mind, and soul, right? And that's not a debatable subject in Dungeons and Dragons, because the gods are real. The Pantheon is printed in the book, right? That's where we are now, right? So I really, I'm really fascinated by this. I just want to remind you, as you go forward this year in 2022, make every session count. Make every tale count. Recognize that every player who sits down at your table is giving you a gift of their time, and frankly, it's hard to think of a gift that is of more value right now than people's time. It is the true currency of life, and they are giving you that coin, right? So you want to reward that faith in you with not a good story, an amazing story, something that comes from deep thought, something that comes from philosophy, right? And if you do this, Dungeons and Dragons does move beyond the chutes and ladders arena, right? It becomes an engine of personal improvement, an engine of cultural improvement, an engine of global improvement. Stories matter. This is important. And when you put every non-player character forward, are they bear or are they folion? All that's my opinion. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'm curious what you think of. When you think about trees, right? What do they tell us about us as human beings? What are your thoughts? And how can we leverage that in our Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition tales? I'm curious of your thoughts on that. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.